vakatipa chirango atoti sanctions tapana 23 years tina sanctions vanoto kwa vanhu vatakapa sanctions aya zvirango izvi kuti vamukire hurumende kuti vatambure zvokufa ko zvinomboita sei kuti vari kuramba vachingorarama kwa 23 years takambeiti 9 million 10 million kozota ku 15 million namasanction edu tichingowedzereka nemasanction aripo tambaiwe
moshande enyu wana babai ndimi makaramba kuterera mashoko zinodiwa na musiki chonaika zvaitanika.
When Mondoro Mbayiwa, here the Zanu PF constituency, which was won and run for the past 5 years by legislator Freddy Kapuya. Now Freddy Kapuya has decided to step down and pass the baton to new ideas, new blood, and he did not seek re-election even in the party primary elections. Now Freddy Kapuya has been the mayor of Redcliffe before he moved from the mayorship to come into the legislature. Now we're going to have a conversation with him on why he decided to pass the baton stick and what issues has he been dealing with as the legislature for Mondoro Mbayiwa. Now join me after this break, yours truly, Dara, as we talk about the politics, the people and power ahead of the 2023 general elections. Welcome back and thank you very much for joining me on The Situation right now, and I'm with Honorable Freddy Kapuya. We are here in Mondoro Mbayiwa and we're talking to Freddy Kapuya, the man who has decided just after one term of office as legislator, decided to hand over the baton. So Honorable Freddy Kapuya, why have you decided to hand over the baton just after one term of parliamentary office?
I want to grow with the party. I want to concentrate on Zanu PF more than as an MP. I think people have got different views. As a legislator, you are the lowest ranked person in the hierarchy of the party. Even a cell member is your boss. So what I have decided to is to say I want to grow as a party member. In the near future, I also want to lead this party, Zanu PF, 15 years, 20 years time. Still got a lot of energy, I'm still young, and I want to grow on the party. You are more influential, you are more powerful when you are a senior party leader, because you drive the economy, you drive the country more than just an MP or a minister.
Some would say it's a bit of a taboo for someone to say I want to lead Zanu PF. People hardly talk about that. What gives you the boldness to say that?
It's not a taboo. President Mnangagwa is there. The former President Mugabe was there. So there is renewal within the party. And very soon, after 5 years, our president is going to retire according to the constitution of this country, if he so wishes. And then someone will take over. And after 10 years, according to the constitution, whoever is going to take over, in the Zanu PF, you've got their line already. And after that, I'll be in the matrix of the lineup.
So Let us talk about the work that you have been doing here in Mondoro Mbaiwa. Just as we speak, there was an official opening of the upgraded hospital. Let's talk about that.
It shows you the amount of work I've been putting as an MP. It shows you the amount of work Zanu PF have been doing behind the scenes to develop Zimbabwe, to develop every corner of this country. Like our president always saying, no one should be left behind. And imagine today, the whole of Zimbabwe was in Mbaira, a growth point in Mondoro constituency, to witness the official opening of the hospital, an upgraded hospital. I think that hospital was built in 1945. Long back. And it was just a clinic before, whereby you could go and seek a parasite just for headache. And the best that you could get is referred to Chegudo Hospital for further treatment, even if a broken arm or just a complication of some sort. But as of today, it's a thing of the past. Whether you need Caesar, whether you need surgery, whether you need any amputation, Mbaira Hospital is going to perform that. Courtesy of Zimplus and the people of the Mondoro and the government of Zimbabwe and the party Zanu PF.
But is it not an indictment to Zanu PF? They've been in power for 43 years. And now it's simply, after 43 years of independence, we are relying on Zimplats to upgrade that hospital 42 years after independence.
The government alone cannot develop Zimbabwe. You need partners. And those partners are not partners from other countries or any other donors, but they are partners who are doing business in Zimbabwe, who are mining in Zimbabwe. All what they are doing is giving back to the community where they make their wealth. And that's normal.
But 43 years after independence, Honorable Kapwe.
Yes, it's better late than never. That's what I will tell you. Now the people of Mondoro are smiling. Yes, they might not be getting the same service 43 years ago, but courtesy of Zanu PF government, they are now smiling. You visit Mondoro Mbaira as from now, this minute, it's totally different institution. You've got doctors there, you've got state-of-the-art theater, a new mortuary, everything there. The kitchen, the facilities are upgraded with the latest technology. And health is the most important aspect of our life. Every day, health does not have a shift. If you work if you had worked in Zisco or Zimplats, at 12 you would say we are shutting up the machines and going home, we'll come back tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Even where you work, you close at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you go home. But in health, you don't close. There is no holiday. Because every minute, someone needs attention. Every second, someone needs attention to save a life. Accidents, chronic illness, any illness of all sorts needs medical attention. That's the difference. So, you ask any Zimbabwean or a Mondarian who tell you, why do you ask me about 40 years ago? Now I can walk in and get a better treatment. So it's better late than never.
What are the challenges have the people of Mondoro faced over these past years?
Drought. Mondoro is a dry region. It doesn't have a lot of farms. If we take it off from Chegudo district, as a constituency, it doesn't have, and the soils are not all that good. So every drought affects Mondoro more than any other area because of the nature of our soils and maybe of our climate. So thanks to the government of Zanu PF, persistently they've been giving people supplemental maize, supplemental sorghums to augment the lives of the people.
But you are undoubtedly one of the richest in this country in terms of mineral wealth, aren't you?
As Mashonaland West, as Mondoro region. If you see now, it is only the past 2 years that we have seen a lot of mineral companies coming in this area to start mining. You talk of Karo, it's still a project. You talk of Bravura, it's still a project. You talk of JIPS, it's still a project. They are not yet, you know, when mining takes long time, 4, 10, 15 is just a project. Exploration, geological survey, it's still a project. But after 10 years, 15 years, Mondoro is going to be different. We are going to smile every day. 1, creation of jobs. 2, creation of wealth as a country, GBT of the government. We will get, as Mondoro, we have our share. And we have a say in the government as a constituent because of the mineral wealth underground.
Manicaland thought the same when there was a discovery of diamonds, but they're still poor. Do you think that mineral resources in Zimbabwe are actually used for the benefit of the people within the areas that they are being mined?
Yes, this is a typical example of what we've just witnessed. Zimplats are mining and they've come back to give back to the community. They've not only done it in Mondoro, they've done it in the areas which they don't even mine. You look at Gutu, you look at Kadoma, you look at Banget, you look at Kutama. They've done that. They've helped the community. Even in terms of taxes they pay to the government, which helps the country at large. It's great. It's surmountable.
There are some who believe that our mineral wealth is being enjoyed by a few select elites, especially those around Zanu PF. Are you a beneficiary of mining resources?
I don't own a mine. But of course, yes, we benefit through the minerals in this country by taxes, loyalties they pay to the government of Zimbabwe. As I say to you, the inputs which we get, they are also subsidized by the miners from the tax they pay to the government. The fuel, the subsidies of education sector, every other government sector doesn't make a lot of profit, but it is through those loyalties that the government benefits and taxes the government benefit. And at large, Zimbabweans, they benefit. You might not see it from a bird's eye view, but if you go deeper, you will see. You ask about the budget of devolution. Where do you create that budget from? It's from all those loyalties which the mines pay or other industries they can. And our biggest contributor in the GPT as a country is mining. More than anything, it's mining as we speak. Otherwise, this country could have collapsed. That's where I take off the notion that it's only being enjoyed by the elite. Long back, you used to have tobacco, giving back to the GBT, you used to have other industries. But now this country is more of a country which is helped by mining. Whether you are a Korokoza, whether you are what, you put your mines through the right channels, the country benefit. So this country is benefiting more from the mine. The civil servant salaries, they are all coming from the mine royalties or taxes they pay. Otherwise the country will have collapsed. So that's a typical of them that it's being enjoyed by every Zimbabwean. This issue of the elite, it's everyone, it's a notion and it's subjective. It's debatable. It's how you perceive it. But in reality, if you go deeper into it, you understand it better.
Some people think that politics has become a profession, and most Zimbabweans are looking to become councillors, MPs, to get money. What has been your experience in politics as an employer?
How do you get money when you're a councillor and an MP, even a minister? Because you're a civil servant. You work for the people. Your salary is as good as another civil servant.
I've seen you driving top-of-the-range vehicles, pimped SUVs, and ministers and MPs living the high life.
You have not asked them well. To know John, you should ask John. If you speak to MPs, councillors, even to the extent of the president, you will see that we are all civil servants. If you look at our salary slip, it will tell you, it's a testimony. Yes, somehow you are privileged to be a business person, because some have got nation that to get into politics you should have money. So those people who are into politics have money, so they've made their money somewhere else, and they just want to be civil servants to help the people and assist the country.
Where have you made your money, Honorable Kapuya?
On a personal note, I've been a worker throughout my life. I was working in Boat Movement as a transport manager for quite a years. Then I went transferred to Redcliffe as a transport manager, B&F, and I started my brokerage business long back. And that's where I started. The rest is history. I've built my wealth on my own. I started, when I left employment, I had $10. Those who know me will tell you. I think you are a typical example. I remember you wrote in one of the articles when we were doing cricket together that the current chairman of cricket, his business is yawning. It was also the difficult times. That was 15, 20 years ago. It shows the growth of a person. It shows how a person, if you put a lot of effort in your work, yes, along the way, there are also things which you do to get to where you want to be. You might hurt people as you go, but as you become bigger and bigger, you then think, no, this is not ethical, this is not good. You become very professional in your doings. I remember when I started the brokerage business, when I left employment as a transport manager, somebody asked me, why do you want to leave employment? I had $15 in the pocket. And I said, I've got an idea. And it was just an idea. And I remember when I got my first contract from the Banget Cement fertilizer manufacturing company with the agronomist, Mr. Engelbert, to say, can you move 1,000 tons of fertilizer in the Midlands region, Kwekwe district? I said yes within a week. That's when I bought my first car. Because I used to drive good cars because I was a manager. But when I left employment, my bosses then took the car back. I had to spend 2 weeks walking to and from town and looking for lifts. And that was my first job, because I had a good relations with other companies which I was working for. And that was my breakthrough.
So as you sit here, Mr. Kapuya, you are telling me that you have not received any sweet financial benefits as an MP.
When you talk of sweet, I don't understand, because the sweat and the effort you put as an MP is not commensurate with whatever we get, because we're civil servants. We work for the people. Every day people die, you have a phone call. Every day people are admitted in hospital, you have a phone call. Every day you have a call from saying, my child didn't get fees, my child, you help. So if you are talking about what we got from the government and from the HE to say, guys, you've worked for 5 years, just help yourself to, like, if you talk about the 40,000, I'll tell you, every MP witnessed today that he has put more than 100,000 in the constituency for the past 5 years to make it run, to make it better, to make people appreciate your job. Because one way or another, you are there to help the people, not you to be helped. Because you've put your name forward to say, I want to be a civil servant, I want to be an MP. So please, give me a job. I need your vote.
But you helped yourself to 40,000. MPs helped yourself.
No, that's not helping ourselves, because we just put it back to the community. Or reimburse what we've used along the way. I'll tell you, if you ask any MP what they've used that 40,000, you will realize some, they had not cars even to drive, because what they got on the parliament of privilege, the loan, they paid back. And after all, that 40,000 was a housing loan, which is consummated with any civil servant to get a loan, to buy a house, to build a house, or a car, for that matter. It's not something out of this world.
Honorable Kapuya, you have been a mayor before. Now, tell us the difference between you being a mayor and an MP. What are the major differences?
There is a vast difference, a big difference. As a mayor, you're a civic leader, pure civic leader. What you do when you're in that house or in the chamber is different when you're in the August House and as a member of parliament. In the local authority, you drive the city development. You make sure your city grow. I'll give you a typical example of Redcliffe. When I became a mayor, I was a councillor before for 5 years, then later on another 5, and then I became a mayor. We had to sit down to say, Redcliffe is the only city in the world where you 10, 15 kilometers to get to the city center. If you drive, you want to get to New York, you pass through the city center. Harare, you do the same. Bulawayo, you do the same. Mutara, you do the same. But it was different with Redcliffe. That's why its growth, regardless that Zisco wasn't operating then or it ceased operations then, but it was very difficult to recognize that you are in Redcliffe. Meanwhile, it had vast land which stretches across the highway. If you go back today, it's a different scenario. It's a different ball got together because we had to take the city to the city center, to the highway where it develops outwards. And people appreciating when you pass through the city, oh, that's Redcliffe. But long back people used to see if there are no lights there or there's no Zisa, you won't even recognize it when you go along the bridge. It was my creation. The housing development, because every town, for it to develop, should have a lot of housing stock, regardless of the industry. Because you don't have to live to work in Redcliffe to own a house in Redcliffe. No, because a house is an investment. You might work in Bulawayo and own a property in Redcliffe, or in Kwekwe, or on Mtara, or Beitbridge. Because all what you need to have an investment or property. So that notion, when we were selling Redcliffe, say, you have to have investment in Redcliffe, but you don't need to work there. As simple as that. But then as an MP, you are an arm of the executive. It's different. You are a legislator, laws. That's where you make bills, laws of the country. To develop the country, to steer the development, which helps then the local authorities. So those are two different.
Well, which one did you enjoy the most?
As a mayor, that I'll be honest with you. You are direct in charge of development. You can make bylaws today and be implemented today. Because you'll be a small unit. But in the parliament, it's a process where you have to craft the laws, start from the consultation, the drafters, then you go to the parliament, you go to Senate, to cabinet, then back, president then puts a signature. It becomes a law.
If you were to sit down and vote today and say, would you want a country with MPs without councillors or councillors without MPs, what would be your choice?
They complement each other, to be fair. Because then the councillors cannot have legislation and then the same time make bylaws and the same time superintended over them. So the same as the MP. That's why if you look at the Devolution Act, the MPs were then taken off from being also part of provincial council, because then you can't then supervise the money you've allocated yourself. You have to supervise the money which you've allocated others outside, so that you remove the conflict of interest.
But if we were to just say, let's drop one arm there, which one would you rather drop?
It will not function. I will not advocate for that. Because then you have a big vacuum as a country. A big one that you're not able to, because they assist each other. They work together. You can't say there's no parliament and you want to advocate for a local authority council. No.
Maybe we can just say all mayors are the ones who now sit in parliament.
No, there's no that law. Because our constitution stipulates that an MP have to be voted for 4 years, and you have to put bills in the law. It's very strict. The Green Parliament conducive for investment. as a country. But as a councillor, if you talk our position here in the rural areas, when there's inputs coming from the government and the president, Comrade Idi Mnangagwa, the councillor as the people on the ground, they know which headman does have more households and which one has got little households, so that there is equitable distribution of the input, same as drought relief, same as any other things which comes from donors or government, because they are on the ground. But the MP will not be able to know that every day because he doesn't live with them. Most of the time you are in parliament. Monday you're doing committees, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you may be on the constituency on weekends, but also have business to do. But as a councillor, you stay with them. You're always there. You can attend funerals every day. You can attend church services every day. So what does then, to complement each other, the council is to inform the MP if there is need. The MP then informs the government. Because an MP is an arm of government. And council is an appendix of government.
Some people would say that Zanu PF has let down the rural folk over the past 43 years. In fact, when I was speaking to Nelson Chamisa, he said life is retrogressing in the rural areas.
Or if you speak to Nelson Chamisa, you tell it different because he wants to be voted into office. So only what he does, he doesn't see anything good being done by Zanu PF. But I'll give an example to say, I've just said you have come to Mondoro. You have witnessed the president cutting a ribbon of a hospital with state-of-the-art machinery.
Built by Zimplats.
Which is our stakeholder, biggest stakeholder in Mondoro, which is taking minerals from this country. It has to pay.
It's
giving back to the community. Exactly. So what has happened there? There's improvement of the people's lives. There's a change in the day-to-day living. So it's a plus. You can't say that. You look at the road sometimes. I'll give you an example here. If you drive through, do you want to come there, Beatrice? A lot of people living along the way in the rural areas. But look, there's an improvement in the infrastructure. What are you saying? You drive along the way, you see service stations, even in rural areas, state of the art. What are you saying?
43 years after independence, Honorable Freddy Kapuya, you are still dishing out bags of seed to people. They are not in power, are they?
No. I want to tell you something.
We are still using food to win elections in rural areas. Is
No,
that fair?
there is no using of food to win elections in rural areas. The Zanu PF government is just helping every Zimbabweans when there is drought. When there is no drought, the Zanu PF government does not dish food. I'll bet you with my last cent. When there is no drought in this country, Zanu PF government does not give free food to the people because there won't be no need to do that. But what do you think of a government when there's drought? You just say, no, why am I dishing? But there's drought persistently for 3 years and the government ignores just to say, I want, what would people say? That's different.
It has been done on partisan lines, Mr. Kapuya, Honorable Kapuya. It has been done on partisan lines, and that has been the issue, especially even raised by the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, that food has been weaponized as a political tool in rural areas.
Not in Mondoro, as far as I know. We give each and every person who is in need, regardless of his political affiliation. Not in Mondoro. There is no that notion in Mondoro, because everyone is a Mondorian. Everyone needs help from the government of today. And Zanu PF is the government of today. And the government which is going to be there forever. And it has to help its people.
How do you say that, Honorable Kapuya, that Zanu PF is going to be in power for the, you said for what?
Forever.
Forever.
I can repeat that 10 times. Because it's a people-centered government.
You have lost elections.
When?
lost elections in
If you
2008.
talk about me as a person, yes, when I wanted to be candidate the first time, I lost. I agree. But as a party, we have not lost elections.
In 2008, you lost elections.
Agreed, 2008 we did. But the
And
constitution
you
of that
concede
country,
power.
of that time, tells that you have to have 51 plus, which the other opposition did not achieve. It was below that. And you just go to refer, because the issue is, why do you then lean to the constitution when it favors you? When it doesn't favor you, you say, ah, no, why is it implemented? No, it shouldn't be that way. You can't bake and eat the cake at the same time. No.
The constitution provides for the military to move tanks into the streets of Harare and remove a sitting president. Yes, no?
I don't know what you're trying to say. Can you explain further?
In 2017, tanks rolled in the streets of Harare. Zanu PF was under siege of the military. ZBC, we saw Busiso Moyo reading a statement, military saying that we have just stepped in, but the president is safe. We are targeting criminals around him. What part of the constitution allows the army to do?
Didn't you see Zimbabweans on the street?
After
Were they army personnel? People waving the flags? No, they were not. They were not army personnel. And remember, the army, every government arm has a right to protect the constitution, has a right to protect the citizen of this country in whatever way it deems necessary at that particular time. And there was need to do that at that time. I don't know how you call it, a coup, what, but the high courts of this country, and you remember, there was a process which is enshrined in the constitution. No one was removed by a military coup. If I remember, our founding father, the former president of this country, had to resign because there was a process. He was not overthrown with any military action.
Would you not resign, Honorable Kapuya, if guns are pointed at you? It's what is called at law undue pressure, is it not?
Who was pointed a gun? Were you there? Did you see it happen to former President Mugabe?
It was on TV, wasn't it? Tanks on the streets.
At his house?
Yes.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. All what I saw and what we participate is the Zimbabweans saying we need a change. And that's it. And the change is there. And we are seeing the fruits and we're enjoying it. That's all what we saw. And that's all I saw.
Honorable Kapuya, what is the message coming from you that you'd leave for those that are coming to fill your shoes?
Mondoro need hard workers. You don't have to lie to people in Mondoro. You don't have to bull them. Be humble. Understand their daily needs. Some you might not achieve, some you might achieve within the 5 years period. It's a process, which I urge those councillors who are coming in, my fellow Zanu PF MP who is going to be elected in this forthcoming election, to say, by being elected in the primary election, the people of Mondoro loves you. Or what is left is to extend it further and work with them. And make sure Zimbabwe prosper. You help your party to achieve what it wants.
Normally, elections in Zimbabwe are known, especially in rural areas, for violence. Rural areas have become the epicenter of violence in elections.
Yes.
What is your message around that?
But do you know people fight every day in beer halls? Whether it's in Harare, whether in Mondoro, whether in Mutare, whether in...
Make it right.
No, I'm just giving an example. And when you are going towards the elections, when people fight, the notion around the world, everybody said, it's Zanu PF fighting the opposition. People might have misunderstanding. You might find as MDC or a CCC removing my poster. Surely you, what are you trying to say? We will fight. But if you just leave my post and campaign freely, if you look at our president today is advocating, look at his speech or the VP Chwenge's speech. It says, please let the forthcoming elections be peaceful as ever. You witnessed that in 2018. No one was beaten. I'll tell you, even here in Mondoro, Zanu PF, we did not win the elections. Chamisa won. That was their fight. No. So when we win in other constituencies, Zanu PF, they say there was intimidation. What is that? So you don't want to win, and when you win, you say that's correct, there was no intimidation. And when you lose, you say there was intimidation. Why that? Why is it that? And when, if you see MPs of the opposition, when they win, they illuminate, they clap, they are happy. But when they lose, they start to say, no, there was intimidation, there are all this. Why are they crybabies? So it should be, what you are saying is, if Zanu PF were all beating and killing people, there should not be any MDC MP in parliament or senators. The president would have won every constituent, which he did not.
Are you denying that there is electoral violence, endemic electoral violence, especially in rural areas?
I'm not in Mondoro. I've never seen that. That is my home. I will not talk about Chiweche, I will not talk about Bulila Mangu, but I talk about where I live.
You have been in Redcliffe, in Kwekwe, and there's been massive violence.
No, not to my knowledge, because if you look at in Kwekwe politically, we have lost elections more since the coming in of opposition. So what do you say? Why the violence? Why? So you are telling me the violence does not prevent a candidate from winning? No, there was no violence. You only talk of violence when you lose, but when you win, you don't talk of it. Why?
Zanu PF has even at some time suspended or disqualified some of its members because of violence within primary elections. And yet here you sit and deny the existence of political violence in Zimbabwe, and particularly driven by the ruling elites.
Violence in its context among friends is different. Violence in its context and among enemies is different. Some is physical, some is verbal. It's all violence. You'll be shouting at each other because you might not agree always. Even if you are friends, there is bound to be exchange of words, because we all have diverse ideas. So violence it's not all about hitting or killing. No, argument of a point to a certain that you feel like, hey, I could have castrated this person. It's violence. But you want to stress your point. It's not physical. So what the violence you talk about within our party, because yes, I will not deny that within our party there are also rogue elements. They're there. It's an institution. In any family it's found. But there's nothing to write home about it. Why are we fighting on our own? It's just normal of a big family is Zanu PF. That people, some think differently. But that's normal. You look in America when Trump, that riot, it's violence. They wanted to fight. There's a divergence of different minds. It's normal. Even in parliament, you look at Taiwan, they kick each other. The next morning, they're there sitting, the speaker walks in, or the president, they debate about their country. So it's subjective. It's there in our party. There are rogue elements. But our president is always saying, everyone who does violence at whatever level, you're out of the party. Why do you fight? Be violent in arguing, expressing your point, until someone reasons and understand where you're coming from. Then the country moves on and the party moves on.
We're just going to take you over to some of the constituency or the people in Mondoro Baiwa who we spoke to about Honorable Freddie Kapuya's time as the Honorable Member of Parliament, and this is what they had to say. Let's take a listen.
MP rekuti vange vachibata munharaunda chekutanga ndechekunomiririra veruzhinji kuparamende vachinosvitsa mashoko anenge achibva mumhuri yavo kuparliament, then parliament yozoita basa rekuti rizodzosa futi mashoko through MP vedu, MP vachizodzoka kuvanhu vachitura zvavanenge vapuwa nekuhurumende.
Matambudziko atirusangana nawo senharaunda inomabaira zvikuru sei takanangana nepano pagrowth point. Tinoona kuti tikashanya kune mamwe magrowth points mubaira yakasara zvakanyanya. Tikutofanira chiitiko chaitika nhasi uno chekuvhurwa kwechipatara rinova rimwe redambudziko ragadziriswa nehurumende. Saka ndo mamwe matambudziko atosangana nawo. Touya futi migwagwa yedu haina kumira zvakanaka zvokuti kange tine madzimai zvikuru sei anenge akazvitakura dzimwe dzenguva angona kuti mamiscarriage vari munzira nekuda kwekuti kana motikari hadzina nzira motikari dzakutobva munzira dzichifamba nenzira dzinofamba nengoro zvinova zvinhu zvaakukonzesa conflict munharaunda.
Anenge ari matambudziko ekuti tonenge tichida kubatana tiise misoro pamwe chete tichiita development dzedu tiri pamwe chete, asi tinowanikwa kuine vamwe vanenge vachikakavara vanenge vasingadi kuti vabatane nevanhu. Saka shuviro yedu ndeyekuti tiri kuda kuti musangano wedu weZanu PF uenderere mberi ukwanise kutonga kana tikaisa ED panyanga vachiwana MP weZanu PF vachiwana kanzira weZanu PF development yedu haidzokere kumashure nekuti tinenge tiri muofisi kubvira pana kansela kubvira pana MP kusvikira pana president. Saka matambudziko iwaya tinoda kuti gore rino 2023 tiwanikwe tichipedza matambudziko ese munharaunda, kuti munharaunda kana mine opposition party hamuiwanikwe development inowanikwa ichisuduruka. Saka shuviro yedu ndekuti toda kuti kansela, honorable president vese vapinde muofisi kuti tikwanise kupedzerwa matambudziko munharaunda medu. Inini ndiri chairlady wapachitendere inzi Teresa Matambudzo, ndaane 30 years ndiri chairlady pachitendere. Saka matambudziko akawanda
ya mabasa akabatwa na MP aripo, mabasa avakabata, but nekuda kwemukana wokuti pavakapinda 2018 MP mukana wokunge vachishanda zvakapfurikisa zvavanofanira kunge vachiita hauna kukwanisa kunge uchiwanikwa nekuda kwedenda reCovid. Saka havana kukwanisa kuzoachiva mamwe madevelopments avafanira kunge vachiachiva nekuda kwedenda.
Tinonzwisisa kuti MP patinosarudza MP veruzhinji tinonzwisisa kuti MP ane basa ranofanirwa kuti aite rimwe rinenge siri rake. Basa rake saMP pane mamwe avakabata asi havana kuzokwanisa kukunda zvavo ese.
MP wedu varipo iye zvino Africa Cup ndinovimba kuti vatipedzera matambudziko nekuti vatigadzirisira chipatara kubvira paoperation kubvira patheater kubvira pakusununguka hapasina matambudziko atichasangana nawo munharaunda nekuti taakugona kuti vasina mari yebhazi tinogoda
kutenda kuti pakati pezvimwe zvivimbiso zvavakanga vakaita in terms of zvibhorani kune dzimwe nzvimbo zvakatocherwa zvibhorani vanhu vari kutonwa mvura vakabatawo zvakare mabasa muzvikoro.
Zvivimbiso zvakanga zviripo neshuviro yavo zvimwe vakazadzikisa sokutaura kwandakaitawo zvimwe wose munhu nyama zvimwe hazvizozadzikisa nekuda kwemamiriro akaita upfumi hwedu.
Handi tiri kutaura nezveAfrica Cup ya vane zvavakativimbisa vakazvizadzisa. Munhu haugonere munhu wese anenge inini sachairlady vane zvavakandivimbisa zvavakandiitira zvinove ndine vana iye zvinozvi vakatobuda kunze kwenyika zvichisanganisira Africa Cup. Vane zvavakandiitira zvikuru asi munhu haagonere munhu wese, asi pandiri inini chairlady wapachitemberi vakandiitira zvikuru zvokuti ndofunga ndichange ndaamurugare rwokuchengetwa nevana vavakanditsigira pachikoro chepaGold Reach mukwe.
Sarudzo dzenyika maprimary akatoitwa MP havana kukwanisa kunge vachizoisa CV, asi dai vakanga vakaisa CV MP ndinoimba kuti pakati pesarudzo dzanga dzichiitwa vaigona kunge vachiwana mukana.
Kuri kunzi vari muresi tinokwanisa kuvavhotera kuti tivape umwe mukana.
Exactly.
Basa raMP munharaunda munosanganisira mabasa akati wandei zvikuru sei for development kuona kuti nharaunda constituency yavanotungamirira zvii zvinodiwa nherera ngadziende kuzvikoro, maschool dropouts ngaende kuzvikoro nekuona kutiwo zvinenge mainputs anenge achibva kuna president achiuyawo through iwo kusvika achidzika asvike kuvanhu nenguva.
Ndire development muwadi zvichemo zvese zvinowanikwa nakansela muwadi. Kansela ndivo vanofamba muwadi, saka kansela vanofanira kuzoenda nezvichemo zvevabereki kuna MP vozvigamuchira vakuenda nazvo kumusoro vakunotaura zvichemo zvavo. Saka MP ndivo vanopedza matambudziko emunharaunda asi zvichemo zvichienda nakansela zvichibva kwatiri isusu vanhu vari musero ndo vanopa kansela zvichemo kansela woenda kuna MP. Saka MP ndo vanotipedzera zvichemo munharaunda.
Now, thank you very much, and welcome back to our last edition, our last segment rather of the Free Talk in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation, and I'm here with Honorable Freddy Kapuya, who has just passed on the baton, and Honorable Freddy Kapuya is eyeing presidency in the next 15 years.
Of course, yes, why not? I started to go doing politics when I was 18, I think, or 17 I was doing 4-4 when staying in Chitungwiza. If people tell you my history, I said one day I'll be a councillor, and I became. And I told them one day I'll be a mayor, and I become. And I told them one day I'll be an MP, and I become. I'm growing with the party.
Now
every position of being voted, I've been there by the people. I want to grow with the party.
This is looked at and frowned on as a cardinal sin in Zanu PF.
Not anymore. You look at the MPs now who have come in. They're all young. There's good succession in our party. Proper. Yes, it was a yesteryear thing, but not today. Our president is always saying, let the young ones come to the party and lead the party. Because one day or another, it's a natural selection that the aged will die before the young. If I die, if my son dies before me, it's just unfortunate. But the normal situation is the old will die before the young ones. So the NPF is preparing for that. That's all I'll tell you. It's there. You look at the MPs coming in, a crop of MPs, young MPs. And the government, the party and the president said, if they have won elections, why not let them in? Because he understands the good process of succession. Because we don't want our party to die with those people who went to war. No. They have to teach us whilst they're still alive and able, so that we follow their ethos and implement them and even better them to improve our country and to make our party stronger.
What is your prediction? 2023 general elections.
I have no prediction because I know my party is going to win elections. There's no need to predict. It's the same as you want to play Manchester United or Manchester City and Dynamos. I'm into cricket. If you wanted to play what you call Indian team versus Takashinga, with all the galaxy of stars in an Indian team, and you want to play them Takashinga, it's a foregone conclusion. There is no prediction. It's given.
What makes you so confident?
We've got an able leader who is going to steer us to the next elections and win them resoundingly.
How do you define able, Honorable Kapuya, when the economy is tanking, civil servants are poorly paid, hospitals are struggling, you have to rely on multinational companies to upgrade your hospitals 43 years after independence? How do you define able, Honorable?
I said it earlier, Zimplats coming to develop and improve the standards of Mbaira Hospital and the people of Mbaira is not a donation. It's our right. The minerals are irreplaceable. They are not like a seed of maize. Once you take them from the ground, they will not regrow. So those companies are mandated by the constitution and by the government and the party, Zanu PF, to give back to the community. And this is what you've seen. It's our right as a country to have those companies come do roads. Come, if you go all over the world, countries are being developed by companies who are mining. You go to South Africa, you go to Santon, it was developed by mining companies. Even Johannesburg. It was not government. Not at all. It wasn't government. It was the industry, the mining companies, because it was a mining hub which has to develop the place. It wasn't government's money which did all those roads. No, But maintenance after they have been constructed, yes, the government takes over. But initial construction of all those infrastructure you see in all these countries, you look even in America, the Rockefellers, they developed America. The Ford company, they developed America. The electrical general, they developed America to what it is. The railway systems. So why now when Zimbabwean companies develop, they said, why are you waiting for multinational companies? It's our right to have them, for them to develop countries. Because they are our resources.
Honorable Kapuya, as we close, I'll ask you to look at people of Zimbabwe and share a message from your heart, as you will.
People of Zimbabwe, I will urge you to vote for Zanu PF. Vote for my president. The country will go further. The party that brought independence, yes, along the way, as a party, you made mistakes. And we're fixing them. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kapuya, for joining me here on this, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation. Now, this is and this will always be the Free Talk with me, your host, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. And I was speaking to the future president, the future leader of Zanu PF, Honorable Kapuya. But what Honorable Kapuya has just done is to show us that leaders can pass the baton. Leaders can leave their seats of power without fighting, without bloodshed, and allow others, new ideas, to come through. This is the Free Talk recorded here in Mondoro, Mbaiwa, as we take your program to the people, as we step into 2023 general elections. Here on HSTV, in partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation for Freedom, we allow all voices, regardless of political persuasion, skin, or race, to be heard. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.